guys, Deja Perez coming to you live with yet another edition of What's Poppin' the podcast on 93.9 WKYS. And I am super elated to introduce my next guest. Like, I legit kind of stalked her, went to the website, contact page, like, hey, my name's Deja, and I really like your stuff, and can you come on my show? Thanks, great. So, anywho, please introduce yourself to everyone and tell everyone about the company.
Sure. Hi, everyone. My name is Kalilah Wright, and I am the owner of Messin a Bottle. We're a t-shirt company, and we put messages on t-shirts, and they actually come packaged in this reusable bottle.
Which is super cute. You do have the option to order it without the bottle. Like, let's say now that I've already gotten the bottle, right, I don't necessarily need it, so I can opt to not have a bottle this time around, which is super cute.
So you're really,
girl, I'm serious.
You be on the site, okay?
I mean, I see you.
All right,
whatever. All right, so let's talk about this. Like, it's an amazeballs company, and we'll talk a little bit more about it. But I'm curious, how did you get started with this?
So I was an architect for Under Armour, and my background is in architecture.
Okay,
so I have
random.
I have a master's in architecture, and I went to Morgan State for architecture, and I was at Under Armour, and I'm like, I don't know if this is the end all and be all. And one day I was sitting at my desk, and I looked down at the screen, and it was a Chance the Rapper album.
Okay.
And this album, it was called Surf, and I wasn't familiar with it, and it had a message in a bottle. And at that point, I had started putting like words on t-shirts, and I was going through a bad breakup, and it was during the Freddie Gray riots, and I wanted to be vocal, and you know, things were going on in Baltimore, so I just wanted to be loud, and I felt like I couldn't. So I started by wearing messages on my t-shirts.
Wow, that is really dope. So for the average entrepreneur who might want to get into t-shirts, sidebar, she does have a whole thing on her website that helps you start your own t-shirt company. But for the average person that wants to get started in doing this, how did you go from, you know, I saw something, I liked it, I wanted to put on a shirt, to now where you are?
So I'll tell you what I did, and it's really easy, and I launched my t-shirt company with less than $500. So what I did was I went into the mall, and at first I didn't know that this was going to be a thing. And so I went into the mall, and everyone's getting like their rest in peace shirts, and I was like in the mall for hours, you know, waiting for them to make one of my shirts. And I was like, I can't do this. So I like looked around, and I saw like, okay, he had this kind of printer, he had this kind of heat press, and I was like, you know what, I'm going to go home and try it. You know, I'm an artist, I'm a designer, so I was like, it can't be that hard.
True.
So I went home and I ordered, I went on Craigslist.
Oh, wow.
I went on Craigslist and I got a heat press machine for about $150. And I got a vinyl cutter, which like cuts out letters for you. I got that for about $200.
Wow,
and
that's a steal.
Yeah, and then I went to like a local, you know, I went to a t-shirt place and just got some wholesale t-shirts. And I went to IKEA because at the time I wanted to put it in a bottle, but of course I didn't know what bottle. I didn't know if I would find a bottle with a big enough mouth to actually fit a t-shirt in. So I went to IKEA and they had these glass bottles, and I bought like 10 bottles.
Wow.
I got about 10 t-shirts, and I started my company with less than $500.
Wow, that's super impressive and unheard of. So how did you get the word out about the company? Because I'm sure people stop you when you were wearing it anyway.
Yes.
But how did you get the word out? Because the company's grown.
You know, I think for me, it started with social media. Like my friends and family have been great supporters, and they started wearing the shirts. And then once they started wearing the shirts, then their mamas wanted the shirt. You know, like, so it was a snowball effect. And then it started really getting into where just people in different places on social media started to find me. And I think that one of the like upper hands that I kind of have is my shirts aren't cookie cutter. It's not the nice messages. It's not the pretty message. You know, sometimes it's the not so nice message. And, you know, I have a shirt that says, be nice for what? I'm good.
Yes,
you know,
that's the next one I'm gonna get.
You know, so I play off of like things that are happening current event wise. And I force you to kind of have a conversation and for you to think and wonder, you know, so we do things where it's like political, where it's about love, life, career, whatever it is. We kind of touch on different subjects, but we do it in such a creative way where sometimes, you know, it's not nice, but the world is not nice.
Hello.
And so we try to, we're doing this to formulate conversation, you know. So if there's things about police brutality or things happening with Colin Kaepernick, this forms as, you know, you wear a sweater that says kneel on it. Everyone's like, you know, this gives us now, you pass pass someone in the airport.
Conversation starter.
Yeah, and you pass someone and you realize that they're standing in solidarity with you. So that's kind of where I went with this.
That's really, really dope. Now, are some of the shirts, like you have, I mean, pages of inventory, right, on the website, but is there ever a time like that you retire certain things? Like I'm sure what you had in the beginning isn't what's now.
I do. So, the really dope thing about Mess in a Bottle is that, you might have a Trump message or something that is political that might not still be happening. So, we'll have something up for a period of time, but there's stuff that will run forever that people will love no matter what. So it just really depends. I'll do like a little quick, 3-month, I'll take a look at the site and I'm like, okay, we got to take this down, or, but I'll do stuff like that. As the executive person that's handling all of this, I can make those great decisions.
Now, do you manage the website as well as like run the business?
I do. Okay, I don't want to say do everything anymore.
My team most of it.
I know my team will kill me, but I just created a team about 6 months ago. So this company has been up and running for about 3 years now. And for the last 2.5 years, it has been, I manage the website. I still do create every single shirt that you see on the site. It's created by me. I shouldn't say this on public, but I actually still run my social media, answer my DMs, emails, it's a lot, but I still kind of feel connected, and my fans and people are the ones who are telling me like what's hot. Like the minute that Serena had that lose to win saying, like my inbox was like, we need a shirt, so it's been really great because social media helps drive my company. And they tell me what's good, what's not, and what they want to see.
That is so dope. Now, you did previously have a brick and mortar, and now everything is pretty much online. Now, how do you find, like, is it difficult when you have people from Ghana or wherever that are sending requests for you to ship stuff out there? Is that ever an issue internationally? So
no, the furthest we've shipped is to Fiji. So we had a customer in Fiji, and she ordered, we have a jacket that Serena Williams wore that says, "Queen, don't be afraid to rule like a king." Yeah. And so she ordered that with some other items, and I gave her like a little extra because I was like, girl, you're all the way in Fiji. Thank you, So it's not an issue. We ship internationally, and one of the things that we are launching is our Mess in a Bottle vending machines. I don't know if you saw that.
Up. I didn't. Yeah. Tell me more.
So we launched our vending machines in July at Essence Fest, and so people were able to kind of go to the vending machine, see it, and so the goal is to roll out these vending machines in 2019 where you could go anywhere, hopefully hotels, airports, hospitals, and be able to buy a message no matter where you are in the world.
That is freaking amazeballs. I'm so here for that.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Wow. All right, so I totally lost my train of thought. I was going to ask you, that's what it was. So you were working at Under Armour. You started the own company. Were you still working at Under Armour while you were like side hustling and doing this t-shirt? Or did you like have a moment, you flipped the table at Under Armour, you were like, I quit this bitch and I'm out?
Pretty much. It happened a little bit simultaneously where things weren't going well. I was going through a divorce. I had a 2-year-old at home, and it was just the city was in an uproar, and it really just was weighing on me. So, my bosses were like, what's going on? And I was like, you know what? I'm going to do it. And it was just like now or never. And I gave myself 1 year. I was like, the worst thing that can happen is you can become an architect.
Bloop. Okay.
So I was just like, do this, run with it, do entrepreneurship, do it full time, focus on Mess in a Bottle, because I had little other businesses, but this was the one that was like really making money and making a buzz. So I was like, you know what, pay attention to this, see what happens, do it for a year, thug it out, and if it's making money, continue with it. And this is our 3rd year.
Wow.
And I've been full-time since I started the business. And 1 year after I launched the business, I was on TV with Mark Cuban.
Girl.
Yeah. So I wasn't on Shark Tank, but I was on a TV show called The Harry Connick Jr. Show.
Oh, yeah.
And I was on there, and Mark Cuban was the guest. And that was like 1 year after leaving my 9 to 5.
Look at God.
Yeah. So, and I probably would have kind of missed the opportunity if I was at work, even though I started the company. I would have definitely missed it because I'd have been like, oh, I got to work. I got to, but when you got those times where you're like, no, I'll crawl to New York City for this interview if I have to. And that's why what happened.
Wow, that's amazing. So other than the vending machines, what else do you see? What's your vision for the company? Where else do you want to expand it to?
We want to expand to beverages sooner than later.
Word.
I want to see a mess in a bottle wine. I want to see mess in a bottle water. And I want to see mess in a bottle. I've been toying with like a healthy drink. So almost like having a mess in a bottle. So like the greens. Look, I'm telling all my secrets.
Cute.
But we do have a trademark on,
I know that's right.
on beverages already.
You already.
So I can tell you guys. But yes, like I think that going into the beverage arena is definitely something that I would love to do. And then it makes sense with the vending machine.
Right.
You know, so I really
and with already with the bottle.
Exactly. So it's definitely something that we are looking at, as well as before the end of the year, hopefully if I could get 1 second to do what I need to do, we are launching a little mess. Which is kids.
Stop it.
This is the first time that I'm saying this out loud to the public.
Stop it. I am so here for the kids' clothes.
Yeah,
Stop
so
it.
we're going to launch a little mess. Yeah.
Like onesies and toddlers and bigger kids.
Yep.
Here
0 through
all
16. And like, it's funny because I started in the baby space. Like when I was at Under Armour, I was doing Lily Nash, which was like, it was a baby furniture company. So I started and I transitioned to baby like onesies and t-shirts. And that's what really brought on like mess in a bottle, like doing apparel.
Right.
Yeah.
Wow. That is amazing.
Yeah.
You're amazing. Okay. Wow. Okay. Let me think where else I wanted to go with this. You're
like everything. She got to answer for it.
Like
all.
yes, you're like 100%, and I'm so here for it. Okay. So, what advice would you give to an up and coming entrepreneur that doesn't necessarily want to do a t-shirt company, but still works a 9 to 5? Like, what kind of advice would you give?
I would say, do it with fear. That's the biggest advice that I would say. And it's not to leave your 9 to 5. It's to, if you can maneuver and still work and do what you can do at work, those were my best times. I was more creative. Well, I don't want to say more creative, but I was very creative while I was at Under Armour.
Do you feel like it was because you were under the gun and you were, like you were attention at work during the day, so it's like now I super have to focus at night.
Right. And then like just the environment and being in a space. So I found myself at work super excited, like I was on 1,000 because like just really feeling like, oh my gosh, I want to do my own thing. And I didn't know I was an entrepreneur. So I would tell any entrepreneur or someone who it's scratching at them and pulling at them, don't be so afraid, because I think for me, I didn't know that this was on the other side of the door.
Right.
And it's just been so amazing and so compelling because I didn't know what was pulling at me, and it was my purpose.
That's powerful.
It was my purpose.
That is absolutely powerful. Now, what is your current creative process, or how do you this is one of your shirts as well, which I love. But how do you go? Obviously, you didn't just think that in your head and it appeared like that.
Right.
So what is that process kind of like for you?
Right. Well, so what I do is it flows out of me. So it's really easy for me to kind of come up with concepts, and I've always been like that. So I'll create and come up with these different concepts, and I'll sit in front of the computer, and then I'll kind of switch around the wording, just think about what's really, funny, what will catch people, and then I'll just draft. And I go back to architecture school. So I'll sketch it out on paper sometimes.
Okay.
I think about how it'll be laid out. I'll go into, different design softwares, draft it up. And the first thing I do is kind of mock it up. And then I put it out to the world. And once I put it out to the world tells me if they love it or not.
Gotcha.
So they're like, if I put it out and right away someone's like, yo, I want that. I'm
That's
like, oh, okay. All right. Yup. It's up on the site. Go get it. Right away. Yep.
That's hilarious. Okay. So how can people find Mess in a Bottle? Where can they purchase these shirts?
So we are on
you have more than shirts.
www.messinabottle.com. That's our handle on social media. We're on Twitter. We're on Instagram, all that good stuff.
Okay, fantastic. So I want to invite you back whenever you would like to come back. When you launch the baby line, when you launch the beverage line.
I'm here for it.
When you launch these vending machines, girl, I got you. I'm 100% in support of you. I think you are amazeballs.
Thank you.
And thank you for sharing your story, and thank you for being on the show today. I appreciate you.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Of course. Thank you guys so much for joining us for another edition of What's Poppin' the Podcast on 93.9 WKYS.